We'll move you in the rotation.
Right.
So with that, we'll turn it over to Pam for the Grand Families of Harrison County.
I have somebody on the way with some books also. Oh, but I think we'll be all right.
That's John.
Yeah. So I am Pam Hodson-Filler. I am a jack of all trades. A no orange paper hanger right now in my later years of life. Oh, I gotta quit introducing myself as being old, don't die.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So we just finished up another round of Healthy Grand Families. You know, we're into our 5th year. I can't believe it that it was October, sometime right before October of 2017 that we met in this room right here with many of the key stakeholders in Harrison County, about starting a Healthy Grand Families. Bonnie Dunn came up from West Virginia State University, one of the creators of the project, and man, it just took off, and we're very appreciative of that. We have had to date 8 sessions. No, I need to say 8 rounds of sessions. There are 8 sessions that we do in each round of topics for the grand families. They meet once a week, 8 times in a row. And we just finished round 8, which means that in that 5 years, we've had 90 grandparents participate and graduate from our program, which has encompassed 108 grandchildren. Now, but not all of them come to the sessions, and they don't have to come to the sessions to be served by our program. There's a variety of reasons why they can't or they don't, or they might get started and something comes up and they can't finish, or we have some join in the middle, and then we let them come another time so they can actually finish all the sessions and then graduate. I like the way Lola put it. She's on her way here right away. That we meet the grandparents where they are. Some of them, you spent 3 hours with somebody today, am I right? So we have with the 90 who've been through the sessions, there are over 215, probably up to maybe 230 grand families now that have been served by our project, by Julie, our social worker. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm not going to go through all that report. I did just have to send one to West Virginia State University. We have a memorandum of understanding with them because they developed all the materials and the project to begin with. But since July 21 of this year up into the end of October, there were 17 different events. 8 of those were the 8 sessions that we just took our grand families through. The other 9 were events that we went to across Harrison County to different schools. We went to a trunk or treat and passed out information to let the grand families know that we are here. We know we are just like at the very tip of this iceberg. Back in 2020, the census told us, I forget the number of grandparents, but facts tell us that our data tells us that there are over 50% of the grandparents in Harrison County are raising their grandchildren 24/7. The parents are out of the picture. So that's what we're here for. We're here to help them, let them know about resources, let them know what it's like to go through the school system. Thank you, Susan, for helping with that session. They need an array of information and support and encouragement. And I've said this before, one of the first things we tell them is thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for our society. If you didn't take your grandchild into your home, they're going to be out in the system in a foster home or group home or something like that. So thank you for making a difference in your grandchildren's lives. Okay, with that being said, I can't think of anything else unless somebody has a question. I've got lots of information, but okay. With that being said, we're going to start with our recognition. I'm going to, if you are here to represent your business or agency or whatever, if you will come up, and then if you want to help me hand these out. Is anybody here from Olive Areas Restaurant? Betsy, I'm not sure till you tell me. T&L Hot Dogs. Okay, these are the people that provided our luncheons for our families. Price Cutter Grocery Store, okay. Mountain State Brewery.
You guys are all getting hungry now, aren't you?
Yeah. But this happens every year because this is their dinner hour and their busy time. Chick-fil-A, Olive Garden. I mean, they had some good meals.
Yeah, we were fed well.
Yeah.
Yes, we were.
Outback, Tamar's Bakery, Chick-fil-A. You'd be jealous now. Wonder Bar. Anybody here? They were great ribeye steak sandwiches, weren't they?
Yep, yep.
Weren't they late?
Yeah. Not hungry. I know.
Okay, then our forgot, Bonnie Bells always gives us a cake. Not see by here. We had two other agencies that helped with, they provide us with those plates, nutrition plates
Yeah.
that shows the proportion of foods, and they're really cute for the kids. WVU Medicine gave us some of those, and WVU Extension. Are either of those representatives here? Okay. Hands of Hope. Sarah, would you come forward? I know she's here. Sarah Moses is on staff at Simpson Creek Baptist Church. And a project that she and Amy Goddard started is called Hands of Hope. And Sarah, if you want to tell them about the Hands of Hope, if you don't mind.
Hands of Hope, as she mentioned, is a ministry of Simpson Creek Baptist Church, and our mission is to help foster and kinship families in not just Harrison County, but anywhere in our state. We've had people come as far away as Charleston to accept one of the items that they were needing from our foster closet. But we are supplied primarily by the donations from the community, mostly secondhand, but we get some new things. We have a very, very generous community. Bridgeport, Clarksburg, Harrison County in general. All I have to do is put on Facebook, we are needing this item, and the next thing I know, we're inundated with it. So my participation with Healthy Grand Families was just to grandparents raising their grandchildren fall under the category of kinship. And because of that, we are able to help them with furniture or clothing or that was the big stuff I think that we helped with. It was kind of exciting. One day, the first day that I was helping somebody, I think 3 grandparents came in, and one grandmother needed this, so she's looking for what she needs, and another grandmother says she needs a dresser, which I didn't have on hand, but she was telling me, and the first grandmother said, "Oh wait, can you assemble one? Because I have one that needs to be assembled." And so they were able to help each other. That was kind of a neat little connection there. But that's what we do with Hands of Hope.
Step right over there. She will present you with that certificate. Thank you. Sarah, thank you so much for being there for us. And if you'll wait right there, Sarah, we're also going to let you take this one to Simpson Creek Baptist Church because they always let us use their facility. And if you would take this one to our women's ministry who provides cookies and stuff for our meetings. Thank you very much. Well, cookies. Cookies.
You guys here, can't you? Yeah. She's got this down to a science. There's somebody bringing cookies, there's somebody bringing food, there's somebody helping with daycare. It's all just happening, and she does it. So I guess that example that, all of the connections she has to make this happen is right there. So I just wanted to point that out.
And I was trained to do that. Back in 1984, I was taught what an action plan is. It's not magic, except if you have one, it looks like magic, okay? One more group is Bridgeport United Methodist Women. Are any of them here? They also provide cookies. Okay, now our presenters, John Paul Nardelli already let me know he could not be here. And he brought with him Stanley Lacey, who was also going to work through and help with communication at the time. Heather Stoniker, don't see her. Angela White presented on the legal system. Cheryl Farley was a nurse who came and talked about self-care and health literacy. Anita Horner. Do any of you remember Anita? And she used to be a home economics teacher, and she was a principal over in Taylor County for a while. Oh my gosh, she does such a good job with nutrition. She's like amazing. And then Dr. Kevin Junkins with Community Care comes in and talks about addiction, response to addiction and trauma. Susan Miller. Heyman, would you come up, please? And she talked about the school system along with Sarah Starkey and navigating the school system. Did I give Sarah the right certificate? I had two for her. Okay, I'll find it when I to her. She'll look at it. Okay. And now our volunteers that help with things, 44 this time, because it was during the day, children were in school. We didn't have as many needed for daycare, because if you can remember a few years ago, for some reason, the board meeting was at the Robinson Grand. Remember that, Frank? And a couple of you maybe. I had 86 or 88 certificates that time. But Tracy Bell, our newest addition to the, one of the places, our newest addition to the, and wait right there, wait right there, wait right there, please, wait right there. She's our newest addition to the Parent Educator Resource Center. And times, she brings Samantha Bell with her, who helps us with things. So you can take that to Samantha. All right, thank you. And Christy could not be here because her little girl's sick. She's the other addition to our Parent Educator Resource Center. So I'll put that on her desk. All right. So, some people who helped with food delivery.
I tried.
There we go.
There's a lady by the name of Jackie DeFazio. He came, she would pick up the food from the restaurants and deliver it. Another lady helped her by the name of Jan Frenzel, a retired technology teacher from the county. And then John Kenny, Patty Kenny's wife, they're the team that run the kitchen that day. And I mean to tell you, just stay out of their way. It's like a well-oiled machine back there. Audrey Harris is, I think, a local realtor. She picked up food for me a couple of times. Linda Pomeroy, another retired teacher, came one evening for our support group and brought her granddaughter, Harper, and they came to be there in case we had any children come up. And I recognize them whether, because they made that effort to be there. And we want to thank Lola Brown for all of her help all these years. Come up here, Lola. And I know you are supporting, and then I all I can say is that she does some things she doesn't want anybody to know about because it's like anonymous donations, and that's all I'll say there. Nancy Petito, who all remembers Nancy Petito, she comes out and helps with childcare. Another lady from Bridgeport, Amy Maxey, another retired teacher, Janet Busey. All right, so, and we could not do this when we have evening ones without our students, okay? Is Ariana Vogel here? One of the students from Bridgeport High School. Harper Randolph, I mentioned. Kaylin Turnius is here with us tonight. Came and hung out with us for about an hour just to be sure if a grandparent was late getting there with their children. They're so amicable and helpful. And I hope I'm saying this name, Carmendi. Is Carmendi here? Yeah, did I say it correctly? It's Carmendi. 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 And what's your last name? French. French, that's what I thought. She put it in that fancy script, and I'm not sure what some of these things, what I'm saying. Thank you so much. I mean, they show up, and I think they showed up, and you came the day that we had. Because we had to change the location, and we knew we weren't going to have any kids, and I forgot to let Mrs. Keener at Bridgeport High School know. So she and Emma Dillsworth, is Emma Hill here? And there's Emma. They showed up. And I'll apologize again that I didn't, but see, they show up, people show up. They show up. We're so blessed, as somebody said earlier. Now we have one more thing, and that is to recognize we have 3 of our graduates here, and Lola has a special presentation for them. And I'm going to let you introduce these ladies. Oregon? Oh, sorry. Yes, so he's just asking that, well, some of them left already, but a group photo of anybody that got a certificate of appreciation, if you come up here, and Julie, if you and Dora would come in. Anybody that get a certificate of appreciation, okay? That's your trace, okay? Go on the floor, right? Certificate of appreciation, you must get your code.
Oh, we're right, I don't know, say that's center. I have I guess. Yeah, you made it right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I see this center is them.
All right, guys, ready? 3, 2, 1.
It's like that.
All right, Julie, you're on, and you want to mention. Okay.
So I do want to mention a little bit about, Pam mentioned how it all began here. And without your support, the school board, without the support of United Way, without the support of Family Services of Marion and Harrison County, we couldn't make this happen. We are I think we might be the only one in the state of West Virginia, the county, that has this kind of coalition that the community's involved in putting this together and supporting the whole program. So I think, thank you. You guys should be proud of yourselves because without you, we couldn't do what we do to support them. So thank you for that so much. Our first attending, I don't know if you need this, our first one is Susie Hyde. She's got a little appendage there that she's got. He can come up.
She's.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you talk about the books. Is that okay?
Go ahead and introduce the other two.
Oh.
The other two grandkids.
Oh, you were all at the same time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that. And Kathy McBride.
Guys are amazing for what they're doing. I just,
Like Pam mentioned, we thank them because,
let's be honest, they don't have to do this.
I mean, I know that might sound really harsh, but they don't have to do this and they do it. And they do it with open arms, lovingly, for these kids. And it's amazing. So.
Thank you.
We have a special gift for you. Coming from Title I, we're all about reading, and there's a special connection with this book. It's When I Was Young in the Mountains. It was written by Cynthia Rylant, who is a West Virginia author. She's an award-winning author. In fact, this book got the Caldecott Honor Book. But she was actually had to be raised for part of her life by her grandparents in the mountains. And so this book is about her memories and the specialness of that time with her grandparents. So we wanted to give you a book to say thank you. Thank you.
Julie and Dora, he wants to do another group picture.
Let's get a group picture.
Come on, it's good exercise.
Good exercise.
Julie, there? There's so many of us. There's pretty awesome. Except I send them the wrong emails. Julie gets that, Julie gets.
All right, guys, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. That's what the phone show is, a wrap. Unless there are any questions. We do such a wonderful
always,
job.
thank you. I said, as always, thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right, now that backs up to our first presentation from earlier, presentation to the libraries of Harrison County Middle and High Schools from the Harrison County Historical Society.
Yes, I'm Sherry Hebner from the Harrison County, West Virginia Historical Society. We're in this building right down the hall from you. I guess this is going to be the night for presenting books. And I'm here tonight with Lieutenant Colonel Pete Taylor. And he was a veteran of not only serving in the military during Vietnam War era and after, but also 17 years with with the school system here in Harrison County with the ROTC program. And during COVID, he spent time as a military historian. So he took that time during lockdown to put some books together. And one of them is about Harrison County during the Civil War, because there was never a book written about during that period. And he donated it to the Historical Society as a little bit of a fundraiser for us. And we are here to present a copy for the library for each one of the high schools and for the middle schools that are here. And I'll let him say a word or two.
Doug, have you heard the one about? Doug and I worked together for quite a while, and needless to say, we used to tell jokes to each other every day.
Every day.
He was the disciplinarian at Robert C. Byrd at the time, and I figured if anybody needed a joke, it was Doug. I had been writing this book for probably since I first met Doug. I would collect different pieces of information, and I had quite a stockpile of it. In March of 2020, just before Washington, D.C. closed down, I had the opportunity to hit the U.S. Archives. I came home with 1,800 pages of documents that covered just what happened here in Harrison County during the Civil War. And as a result of that and some other research through the newspaper systems, I was able to put together a fairly comprehensive book that covers almost day by day from May 21st, 1861, all the way through September of 1866. So it's a very detailed book and a lot of good stories about local residents and what they did during the war and conflicts between the military and the civilians here. There were no real military engagements in Harrison County. There were 2 minor skirmishes, one over near Bridgeport and one, well, now it's actually in the next county up. At the time, that was a part of Harrison County at a farm up there. Other than that, but the importance of Harrison County in the Civil War is the fact that it was a major logistical center and hub. All of the units coming from Ohio, from Indiana, from Illinois, from Michigan, all came through Parkersburg, down the railroad, and started here in Clarksburg. So this was a major logistical center and a command headquarters. 2 presidents served here during the Civil War. So McKinley and Hayes. So we had quite a unique history, as well as the fact that General McClellan and General Rosecrans also had their headquarters here for short periods of time during the war. So it was a fun book to write, and it gave me something to do during COVID. We'd like to present a copy of this to each one of the high schools and to the middle schools as well. Do they have representatives today? You're here?
If you could come up. We should have about 10 of you, and he has signed them for you.
So these are signed original.
Have you?
You're the same. You're welcome. Thanks, sir.
Yes.
Sure. Let me introduce to you who's here. All right. This is Pam Knight from Liberty High School, and she brought her librarian. David Decker from Lincoln High School. Susan Farrell from Washington Irving Middle School. John Rogers, Mountaineer Middle School. In the back, Mr. Steve Gibson. I don't know him. You don't know him? Okay. Got a feeling you shared some stories with him. Yes. Dave Mazza, Bridgeport Middle School. Lori Scott from Lincoln Middle School, and she brought her librarian. And Mr. Lister.
Yes.
From
Bridgeport High School.
Bridgeport High School. So
Well, I hope your students enjoy this. This is, like I say, for many of them, it's going to be very detailed reading. It's heavily footnoted. So it's, in some cases, that might drive them nuts. But it was a fun book to write. And as was said, I donated the copyright to the Historical Society. So any sales that are made go to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening.
Three, two, one.
Thanks. Let's take pictures next time we come in.
Hey, Colonel Tate, can I get your autograph? You want my autograph again?
They can buy a book.
Doug, I'm not going to sign those little yellow passes. I'm sorry.
They can buy a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting. But then, you know. Yeah. All right, that brings us down to item C, school psychologist recognition. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Miller.
So first, thank you for letting me bring the psychs in to recognize them. Last week was National Association School Psychology Week. It's typically in November, that second to third week. And each year they do a theme. And I felt like this year, the theme really kind of took a nice importance to myself and to the team. The theme was Together We Shine. And I just want to read a little snippet of what the National Association said about that. It says, working together, we shine hope and healing among our communities, schools, families, students, and colleagues. Together, we shine light on setting goals for well-being, growth, and learning. We engage in action steps. We advocate for needs. We raise our voices in discussions to create the connections necessary for our students to develop critical academic and social emotional skills. School psychologists are particularly skilled at assisting students and staff in thriving and working together, whatever the circumstances. And I want to show this appreciation, number one, for our team, but also for the board recognizing that and allowing us to hire more to support the mental health needs here in Harrison County. So 3 of them are not here tonight, but I do have just a small little certificate for the ones that are here. So Mrs. Stutler, if you'd come down. And we'll have them all come up and just do one group photo. Okay. So our first is Rachel James. Lori Bailey. Victoria Bernowski. And Jennifer Downward. Out with us tonight was Kristen Thompson, Benjamin Neff, and Emily McCauley. Okay. I promised them that there was no time. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Important source, but thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The work they do.
All right, that brings us down to item 4, delegations. We have no delegations, correct?
I submitted 4 delegations today. Sent them into the address I had, email address. Same.
Can you check those?
They were sent a little before 4 o'clock. And I've been at the meeting since quarter till, and I assume you all know I was going to speak because I told you last week I was coming back.
I mean,
Email.
I emailed those at quarter of 4, or about 4 o'clock, I apologize. And
Is
I didn't
there-
think it was necessary that I would have to, turn these in, but I will. But if you all don't want me to speak, that's fine. I will save my,
how
What
many do you?
email address did you send it to?
the one on the bottom of this sheet. AAMONS at
AAMN,
right here,
2 M's?
2 M's.
Okay,
I sent it to the same, to the same email address I sent it to the last time I emailed you.
I had it from the last time before, but this time I did not receive it. And I checked.
Well, if,
Mr. Scott, we'll compromise. If that's a, I'll let you speak, but I don't know who else is,
my wife is present, Miss.
I mean, are they speaking?
They have decided to yield.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll compromise and say you can speak for the 5 minutes, if that's okay.
Okay,
I
well,
don't want to yield time because I don't know whether we received it or not, and, you know, I'm not doubting
so
that you said it. but
the issue of violence in our schools and the response to it is not worth letting parents.
I'm trying to, we don't have a copy, Mr. Scott.
Okay.
And I'm allowing you to speak. The last time, those folks weren't here to yield your time, and I'll let you speak for 15 minutes. And I did that, and then I took heat from some people saying, how come he got to speak? So I'm just trying to make a compromise.
Someone, and I'm just clarifying this. You're saying that you received, complaints that you allowed a parent who was addressing the issue of
Yes.
violence in the school.
Yes, because during COVID, I cut people off who were speaking more than 5 minutes. So yes, that is the case. I'm offering you to do this, to let you speak. And I don't know why that's really a problem. I mean, if they want to speak, they can, you know, I'll let them speak the same. We didn't receive these. I'm not going to doubt that you sent them. I'm not going to doubt that she didn't receive them. I'm just trying to compromise.
Well, I have fortunately enough printed off, well, not only what I had hoped to be able to say, but also supporting documents for it. I have brought enough copies as required. I will tender these to you all, and I guess I'll have to speak quickly. I would ask, if I don't get to make all of my comments, that if I post them to the Facebook page, they'd be allowed to remain up. So, you all can follow along with me as I read through what I have prepared. Board members, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you this evening. I want to begin by telling you all that I've come to speak about hard truth. People in positions of responsibility must be held accountable for their actions. This is especially true when those people are responsible for the safety and welfare of other people's children. Conduct has consequences. I'm going to directly address the conduct of the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, and you board members. What I speak here today will make people uncomfortable, but it needs to be brought to light for our children's safety and well-being. I have specifically made sure that all interested parties, including parents and board members, have been included in my quest for answers to the issues that have come to light from the violence being committed in our schools. Again, conduct has consequences. Each person must be held accountable for their decisions. I want to begin by telling you that I have reviewed the school conduct policy and want you to understand that any level 2 violation or higher would be a crime if committed outside of a school setting. What our children experienced was a crime. They are victims. On October 18th, I began posing questions to Mrs. Stutler and Mrs. Mancini. Most of those questions have gone unanswered. I have provided you written copies of what I consider the most pressing questions that I have asked Mrs. Stutler and Mrs. Mancini. That would be number 1. The actions of Mrs. Stutler and Mrs. Mancini have raised other questions that I have not yet posed. I will be asking these questions in the future. I would like to read these questions so that concerned parents and members of the community will be aware of issues facing our children. Number 1, has Mrs. Stutler or Mrs. Mancini been to the classroom to observe or talk to these children? Why hasn't Mrs. Stutler accepted or rejected Mr. Scott's offer to join him in the classroom to observe and talk to these children about their experience? The original request was made on October 17th, 2022. After 3 weeks of asking Mrs. Mancini to join me, she did provide a response that she would not be joining me. To this date, Mrs. Stutler has never answered my request, even to simply tell me no. Mrs. Stutler told me that by law, she could not talk to the children in my presence, and that I could not talk to any child but my own. Please require Mrs. Stutler to provide the specific law that she is referencing that prevents her and I from talking to the children about violent crimes that were committed against them. Are the counseling services being provided to the 4th grade class who were victims of this crime also being provided to the 2 students of the special education class who were also victims of this violence? What is the status of drafting a written policy for providing trauma care for survivors of active violence in Harrison County schools? When can a completed plan be expected? Who is involved in the drafting of this plan? Have mental health professionals been consulted? Have parents? What is the status of the trauma care for the children at Victory Grade School? What follow-up has Mrs. Stutler and Mrs. Mancini done to ensure that the care being provided is adequate and meeting the needs of these victims? Have parents been updated as to the progress? What is the status of the changes in the notification system, particularly involving notification to parents when a code yellow or code red occur? What is the status of the changes to the website? Have they been requested yet? Please provide the number of code reds and code yellows that have occurred in our schools since the beginning of the 2022-2023 school year and what schools they have occurred in. Mr. Scott has requested the name of all legal counsel for all matters, including but not limited to privacy issues, personnel issues, and general counsel. Mr. Scott has been provided the name of Susan Dinker for the issue of the open meetings. When will the other attorneys for the other practice areas be provided? Mr. Scott has requested the contact information of the webpage administrator and the person who maintains and operates the notification system. Has this been provided?
Mr. Scott, 5 minutes of that. Thank you.
I would like to say that this is ridiculous. To stop a parent.
Mr. Scott.
All right, 23, want to read what I got?
Moves us down to item 5, superintendent's update.
Yeah, Mr. President, we have several things, nothing for curriculum since we had our principals in last week. Talk about their scores and their achievement. But I do have in your packet, we were provided, this was done at the state superintendent or the state board meeting, the county approval status. And you'll find a booklet in your packet that looks like this. And whether you'd seen that or not, it was on the agenda for the state board meeting. This is our status and accreditation. If you look, they've listed it by counties. So you can see the efficiency indicators at the beginning there. There's 11 of those and we met those. The list is at the top for accreditation. And then this happens to include all the counties, so. And then also there are counties receiving on watch identifications, and if you look, and I think I've alluded to this already, most counties are looking for, we have attendance, and if you look across the board, it looks like math achievement and attendance. If you look at the counties on watch.
Is there a way that we can get, the new attendance formula from the State Department?
I actually
How they figure that out?
Yeah, I talked to Mr. Kirby and he is going to attend our next board meeting. And he's going to do a presentation on attendance for you. So he can talk about how they're figuring the new attendance rates. So he said he would come for that. But I just wanted to bring this to your attention. We've got, if you can see statewide, but I was happy to see, I mean, our 11 indicators for all of our departments, we were found to be efficient for those and met requirements. So it gives you a look at the whole thing.
That was presented to the state board and they approved this. It was embargoed. This was sent to me before and it was embargoed and they told us we could share it now.
So considered on watch, the items that we are going to be on watch for are math achievement, attendance, and English learner progress.
Yes,
So so if I understand that correctly, that's what the state's going to be watching our test scores on over the next assessments.
yes.
Okay.
There's really not an action plan necessarily. They allow the counties to work on these. And if you have 3 years of being on watch, then that's when they will send a team in to, work with the county. But you have to have 3 years in the same subgroup in a row. Has to be consecutive years.
What's the attendance in every?
The attendance is an issue,
In every
statewide, and it really is because
calculation?
the way they're calculating it. And they also, all the calculations changed on how they're doing the subgroup calculations. The subgroup number dropped from 50 to 20. So any group over 20, they look at. So 20 students in any one school. So a large school that has large population is going to have probably most of those subgroups that they'll be looking at. So they also look at our graduation rates. And as you'll see, I mean, our graduation rates are good in this county, so that was a positive. But it's a whole mix of different things, but you'll see attendance is overarchingly, pretty much statewide. But they did change that calculation. I'll have Mr. Kirby talk about that when he's here on the 6th or next quarter.
Looks like every county except
Yeah.
Marion County. Didn't
No, Marion's on there.
What's it?
Marion's on there for English.
English
programs.
learner
No, I meant
progress.
from attendance.
Oh, sorry.
No, just.
Oh, yeah. It was interesting to see the operational effectiveness indicators. Those are those 11 things in the different counties. And I could tell you, like the finance in Lewis County, they lost their chief financial officer in the middle of the school year as well. I mean, I know some of these counties. Now, I don't know about transportation, Jimmy. There's several counties on there for transportation that's in their second year. I don't know what that would, it could be a host of different things, right? Yeah.
Main thing here.
Yeah, you're not on it. He's not on it, that's for sure. So, but you'll see, they've listed on there whether it's their second year, third years.
Take over those.
I don't,
Provide more support.
I think it has to be on their third year. You have to show 3 years of no progress in order for the state to really do anything for that. The other update we really have is facilities. Mr. Lopez has an update on what we're doing with our properties.
Okay. Well, real quick, the one that Jill is not here, we actually, the Simpson project is going to be put out for bid on the 21st. Okay. It'll go out for 2 advertisements that you have to do that. So the 21st and the 28th. On the 6th, we're going to have a pre-bid meeting over at Simpson at 1 o'clock. And then the bid opening will be here at the board office on the 20th. And I'm not sure what the time is on that. It's usually around noon or 1 o'clock. So that project should be in full swing.
So you're saying November 21st for the.
Yeah, November, the first advertisement.
Right.
And the 28th, the second one. So you have to run 2 ads. Then there'll be a pre-bid meeting on the 6th of November at Simpson at 1 o'clock. And then on the 20th, there'll be a bid opening, and that will be here at the board office. Those are sealed bids. You go through, everything has to be in line. And I know Mario will also be involved in that. Tom did. I spoke with Andrew Kaufman today about the online auction. Right now, RISA is online for bidding through December the 5th. And Lost Creek is online through December the 7th. So at that point, we'll have a better idea. But he said he's already had several phone calls, people that were interested in those facilities. The Bristol terminal, as far as what we're gonna move forward and begin to try to sell, it's now recorded. We've got a meets and bounds description. And so it's recorded in the courthouse. So I spoke with Andrew about getting it also online, along with some more of the furnishings that we need to sell at both Lincoln, in the basement, and then again at Adams. And I'd like to try to start working on that before the end of the year. The PRO houses, Liberty and Robert C. Byrd, those are both modular. So I talked to him about how we can figure out, and they have some experience of doing that with the modular homes. So figure out, how we can get those also online, if the board would like. And the South Harrison house, it's a permanent structure, so we need to keep that ground. We really need that. We don't have enough space there, and that will provide some extra space that we can, a luxury that we didn't think we were going to have. And then the Big Elm piece of property is ours, and the PRO officer is in the process of getting that moved. So I will tell you this, as far as I'll move on to transportation, just real quick. We have a luxury of having nearly 10 bus, substitute bus operators right now. And we have a lot of applications coming in. It's a good problem to have, because that's not the case throughout the state. So we're, I talked with Tammy a little bit today about, we're getting people that are coming back. We're bus drivers. Sometimes they're moving in from out of state and they've been a bus driver, and how we could provide a, partial, because they don't have to go through the entire training. So we could provide them some partial reimbursement. And Tammy's going to work on that and present something to you at the next board meeting, as far as the promissory note. There's one promissory note on there today. But unless you have any questions, that's everything.
Did they change when they come back, if they've left, or current bus, they were a bus driver, they've left, they've come back, the certification process was streamlined?
It used to be 2 years. And because I've asked that question to Vic and some of the other bus inspectors, because we had people that was willing to come back, but they didn't want to go through a whole 52 hours of training. And at the time, they said, no, we can't do it. Well, because of the major shortage, it's actually on the state board agenda for a waiver for this meeting to continue that. So if we say have a bus driver that's maybe from another county quit, or even here, that wants to come and retrain, if we want to hire him, Dave Baber, which state school transportation director, he'll take a look at what he thinks, and our trainers will take a look at what we think to get them ready to actually drive the school bus. And so it might be anywhere from 15 to 25 hours. And so that's a luxury that we have. We've had people come in from out of state. So Tammy will present something next meeting to see if we can get some partial reimbursement for those. I think it's $25 an hour is basically what they're being paid for training. There's no fees for testing, because they already have their CDLs and their passenger, school bus passenger endorsement. So they just have to go through, again, abbreviated training.
You may have, if they came from another county to this county, wouldn't they have had the same training there or not?
Yeah, I guess if it's been longer than 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, but because some people will get out, they'll go from transportation to maintenance, or they'll just get out of it, go work in the private industry, and then next thing you know, they want to come back. So that affords that opportunity without them having to go through the entire training again.
You mentioned the two pieces of property, the one at Liberty and the one at Byrd.
Yeah.
Are they going to are they going to appraise them?
Sure.
As to what, okay.
Yeah.
So
you'll have to take into account, somebody's going to have to break those apart. They're going to have to be
right.
transported.
Yeah. But I mean,
we haven't even really actually, so I talked with him today, and we're going to meet after Thanksgiving with Danny, and we'll take a look at that and look at what our options are before we even do anything. And I'll bring that back to you all.
Okay.
So you can make that decision.
I'd like to see what's on the appraisal.
Okay.
They're also relooking at the Adamston building tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, they're gonna take a second look, community, or Thursday, yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. The community action is gonna come over Thursday, at 1:30. If anyone would like to join, I don't think, it's gonna be very informal, but they're looking at, can they afford it? So I know they've reached out to Joey to see what some of the operating costs are, and then how they can facilitate some of the programs in the building. So they have several programs. They have programs here in our building too.
Yeah.
So if they could do some consolidation, the theater is nice for being able to do some of their professional development because they're pretty scattered around right now to be able to accommodate everything.
So I got two questions for you. What are we doing with the, well, maybe I should ask you, the Easter monies with Ernie and with Audra and the HVAC projects and everything that's going on there?
So I will just say this real quick. So today, yesterday and today, they were in the county on the roofs. Not a good day today to be on the roof. But so they are going around right now. They're taking a look at what all the, the concerns are to try to get an idea of scope of work and looking at the cost. Ernie came up and met with us. McKinley came up and met with us last week. I can't remember which day. And so trying to prioritize, take a look at what money that we have available and what the overall cost analysis
An original priority list that we had to reduce down because we had every CEFP project in that. And they kind of gave us an estimate of what that would be. So then we had to reduce it down to our top five and then to get it into a cost for what we have. No money, we've got more projects than we have money.
But we're going to be able to take care of
For
those
sure.
really, those things like Liberty's roof needs replaced,
And HVAC.
Bird's roof. And the HVAC stuff, the gymnasiums, the HVAC that you all wanted done. We're even including possibly a couple of the middle schools that are not air conditioned, Bridgeport Middle being one of them. So
Do that kind of as a package.
kind of do that as a package deal. And the good thing about the ESSER money is these are things that already need to be done. And we're pretty thankful that we were able to get that money. Hope to be able to stretch it. And when Joe first sat down and we looked at these, we put down everything we wanted to do. So we had a huge wish list and we threw that out there, but really knowing that we were going to have to kind of,
And I have no
That's
problem
part
with
of
that.
that.
But my concern is that we have a limited amount of time.
Not anymore.
No.
We supplant.
So, okay, so when do we start the projects?
well, the Simpsons, the first one's going to get started. So that's what we're doing now.
Okay.
And believe me, we were in that meeting. That's what I asked them. So he said, when do you want to start?
Right now.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we want to get them done.
Okay.
And,
But
so I think we're going to be in line.
The
They have-
time limit of 3 years, whatever's off the table.
Right.
Because we supply
So-
the funds, which.
So they have, John Jeffers is going to be the project manager for all these projects that works for McKinley. So he's reaching out to us daily now. He's going to take care of Harrison County and he's going to help oversee all these projects and also putting those together for us. So and I'll ask them if they'll come present at a board
I'd
meeting.
like to have, I'd like to see.
Spring.
At least that down.
I think we'll be doing lots.
Okay.
Already
I'd like to see
to
that.
come
Yeah.
anytime we needed them.
I mean, if you guys want,
I'd
you
like
know,
to see a priority list and what we're gonna do and what the cost is gonna be.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what they're still kind of working.
They've got it narrowed to a number that looks reasonable,
Okay.
that we should be able to, the projects.
And then the other question I had was, what's the status with, and you talked about the electric buses there for a while. What do we see, what do we know?
Okay, so, well, we're not buying one yet. So I've reached out and we are guaranteed to be one of the pilot counties.
Okay.
To have it for 6 weeks. And our plan is we're going to put it in various locations to see how they perform, see if we can run, how far we can go in some of our more rural areas. would it work better in a, in town? So we're gonna put it in several different areas and do some research. That will give us an idea of the charging station, because they'll bring in a temporary charging station. I thought it'd be a good education for our, just as far as being able to facilitate it with the mechanics.
Yeah.
And being able to charge it up, and then the drivers and how they react to it. So, and it sets kind of low, but then it does raise. So we're wondering about taking it on some of those little inclines that have a real quick drop to see if make sure it's just gonna be able to handle all that terrain.
Okay.
Yeah, just.
That bus,
It's in Mon County right now.
the same bus, that's why we're on the 60-day or.
I forget the guy's name that we spoke to, but I emailed him 2 or 3 times. He said, well, since you put so much interest in it, we'll make sure we'll get you in this, this year.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, that was over the summer, we were 4-1 and they were taking people to ride in one.
Yeah, right.
You could get your name on the list.
Good.
So that's what they're working through.
What about the secure entrances at Nutter Fort? Aren't they?
We have the intermediate side that has had a lot of work done. And so they tried to, get started early. And then the plan is to get all the lay down stuff in and really knock that out. I've worked with Danny. We're going to do some of the laminate flooring. So we're really trying to coordinate, work with Todd on, moving some of the IT stuff, cameras and the drops. And I want to make sure it's functional when they come back after Thanksgiving break. Now, there may be a few little things I got to tidy up, but I think for the most part, it'll be ready to go.
The only other thing I have for superintendent's update is we had a United Technical Center meeting. It was not very long.
No, it was a short meeting. One, they talked about the enrollment, how the enrollment is up. Talked about some of the projects that are going out front. They're towards the back of the career center. It's like a pond, and the pond's getting drained and cleaned up, and then they're going to blacktop the parking lot and get that all straightened out so it's functional as people go through there. And
They got a smaller ESSER grant money too, that they did some HVAC work on their building. It's technically our building, so.
Yeah.
But that was
They're
helpful.
getting the pond fixed, right?
the pond's being fixed.
Yeah.
Being fixed. And also, it was waiting, Denver Burnside from Doddridge County is the president of the board. And he didn't know whether that would be his last meeting or not, because he had to run again in the election. And fortunately,
Had to rerun their election.
yeah, they had to rerun it. And fortunately, Denver was one of the top 3, so he will remain as the president of the Career Center Board. Because the next choice, I was going to be in charge of it. So we went down and helped stuff the ballot box.
They made the right decision.
We went down and campaigned for him and all. So, but he does a very nice job with it. And so.
What do they do with the pond there? I mean, when you say the pond, I know where the pond.
No,
It's just all the water runs down in there towards the back. And it's just, when you go through it, you go through water that deep.
whenever it rained, it would not
And then
drain.
when weather gets, when it gets cold, freezes, it's a dangerous situation. And so it's getting done.
Anything they do is good because we own the properties.
Yeah.
But then you think.
That's all I have.
That's.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
At what point can we actually hear what is happening with the issues? I know there's a problem here, and I don't even know when to ask or how to ask, because I don't know how procedures work here at this point. But obviously with Mr. Scott and the things that are happening, not just at Victory Elementary School, I know there's issues at Norwood and everything like that. When can that topic actually be presented? When do I ask for it? How do I get that on an agenda somehow? Just to address the issue of how Harrison
As long as
County
you have a
Schools.
specific motion or what you want.
I would like, is now when I do that?
Well, we can't, I guess we can't motion it, but you can ask that it be placed on, but you need to ask
Oh, okay.
in what form you want it placed on. I mean, an overall.
You just want it on the
I would like something on the agenda that says how Harrison County Schools is addressing the issue of, obviously, there was no, since Back to Basics is gone, there's been a 1.5 year time limit from Back to Basics to now where we're implementing the plan. If we can just have the plan presented as to how, what we're doing, the overall picture, the giant plan, and then the action steps that we are actually
For the
taking.
mental health supports for elementary. schools.
Yes, and I think we've been kind of just like, just jumping around, and I just like a whole comprehensive thing, like presented as to what we are doing. It's not just at Victory
Plan
Elementary.
is done. then
Yes.
it's placed on the next agenda. That's
We
not
can
a
have-
problem.
Okay,
And where we're moving forward.
yes, how we plan on it, on approaching this issue, because obviously it's not, we know it's not just at Victory Elementary. We know it's the other
And,
schools
and
also.
Ms. Butler talked to us about,
Yes,
if you remember, about her plan.
yes, but can we have a formal
You
plan?
should be done with that now.
Okay,
So I agree. I mean, put it on the next,
okay.
either if not the next agenda, if you're not, then then.
What do you think on the following one, the first, we've already discussed what we're moving forward. It's gonna add staffing different places, but that's where we are.
And
We're
with
kind
that,
of waiting to see what our staffing overages were.
and we'll take note
Yeah.
of that. But with that, we
I
also.
do agree that it needs, warrants discussion.
Yeah, but we,
Warrants,
but
you know,
the.
Give us an idea on the plan, let us discuss it, let us talk about what some of the situations are. I think that's.
And that's not a problem, but
Yeah.
if you remember, Ms. Butler, you weren't at the,
At the retreat, no.
no, the goal setting.
Yeah.
Goal setting.
It's on the
Okay,
front.
the goal setting, where she has the plan to replace the back basics, so we wanted to make sure that it was done, so we can present that.
And, you know, I mean, I've been in the school system, been on the Board of Education for every years. And you start to think, there's issues that come up on a daily basis in every school and that have to be handled. And, you know, whether it's handled by the administration within the building, whether it's by, the officers that work out of the buildings, or if it's, whatever, by the teacher. I mean, there's situations that occur every day, and every one of them is different. It's not like you can throw them all in the same pile and say, this is how we're gonna handle everything. And I, like I said, she could spend every day going 10 different directions over situations, and that's why she has a staff that goes out to the schools and, talks with the principal. It's always been a thing, let the principal try and handle the situation first, and then Nora and her people then, get involved and try and help alleviate the situation. Otherwise, I mean, for some reason, everybody wants to place everything out on Facebook, and they want to blow it up to a point that it looks like it's a severe situation. And I think with the plans that she has in place and what she's come up with, you can alleviate a lot of these situations if you allow her to follow.
Let's just put it on.
Yeah, I
We'll put it on
put it on the
the
agenda, put it on the agenda, give us the opportunity to discuss some of the things that we think is important in regards to this.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
With that, we also need to move the next meeting, correct?
Yeah, we'd
To
like to
Monday.
move that to Monday. It would be
Any
December the
objection?
5th.
Any objection to move it to Monday,
Yeah, it's a superintendent's winter conference,
we move it to Monday, same time?
Help me.
if that's possible.
Monday.
It's a Monday, the 5th instead of.
December 5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with that as well, Mr. Drico said that ahead of schedule, he's got the school calendar and we're ready actually to move forward with next year's school calendar. Get it out as quickly as possible for people who plan their vacations. I would suggest, we talked about that same meeting, since that's a different meeting night, meaning we moved it back, I'd rather do it at the second meeting. Because if we have to do a hearing, the first hearing, and I'd rather it be on a night that we normally would have a meeting, so. Yeah, so if we do it on a night we normally have a meeting, then someone won't say that, we changed the meeting date, so they could be there for the calendar hearing, but, the calendar should fairly mirror so his committee is on his calendar, so we can move forward and get that out.
We just have it
Right.
And if you can schedule the second one, so I can just.
In January, second meeting, you want to do a second meeting in January and give you 30 days? Or, close to 30 days, so. We could do it the first meeting. We don't do it the first. We'll do it the first meeting in January. Okay.
Okay, I'll take
So
care of
then
that.
at the 20th and then the first meeting in January, we'll do calendar hearings and get that off the table.
Right.
Okay. Yes. All right, anything further? From superintendent's update?
No, I don't.
Approval of consent items. Is there a motion?
So
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
yes,
Okay.
one thing. There is a charge for Victory chairs. It's double on the.
The whole, there's accidentally 2 pages scanned.
Oh, okay.
They duplicated the page.
Okay, I just.
That was all the furniture.
It was $334, because I mean, $700,000 for chairs.
And then it was duplicated.
Okay,
I told him that would pop up, and that was all the furniture.
okay,
They just put chairs on the line item.
right,
So
right.
that
right.
was all the
But it was on there
furniture.
twice, so it made me wonder.
Yeah, that whole page was actually.
Okay,
Okay,
and all that furniture went to Victory Elementary?
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
new furniture for the building.
Yeah.
Which was that outside of the original contract? Did we have that budgeted or did we pay that outside?
It was budgeted in, but it wasn't part of the SBA.
Right, I know that, but we'd already previously budgeted
New
for that.
furniture, yes.
Okay.
and then the second thing I had was the textbooks. What textbook adoptions did we get from James Law? Do you recall? I mean, it was $200,000.
202,000.
Science.
Yeah, science was this
Okay.
year.
Okay, I just wanted to know, I just wanted to make a comment that, and not that all textbooks are equal and all textbooks are great. However, I do think students should have the textbooks that we are purchasing with the levy monies that is provided through the county. So I think that if we're going to purchase books, whether the teachers use supplemental materials, whether they don't use supplemental materials, is to me, their choice, but they still need to provide a child the book that we purchased for them. That's all I had.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
I noticed on this particular budget or consent items that there's several like athletic purchases. How does that work? Because
That comes out of there. It looks.
How does that-
like we're purchasing. It still comes out of their fund, 'cause we're the fiscal agent for every school.
That comes out of the levy money.
okay, so that's more or less levy money stuff.
Yes, that's.
It's not over and above what they've already received. That's just, we write the checks.
Okay, I was just
Yeah, it has to.
for
well, it has to
clarification.
Go through us. We can't actually just write the check to the school and have them put it in their in-house account.
Okay,
So if it does go through anything with their levy and it's purchased for facilities or anything else, it does go through that and gets placed on there.
okay, and I just have two other things. That Tooling University, it's a web-based e-learning industrial manufacturing training.
More than likely the tech center.
Is that where that would go? Or is
Because it
that
all
any of
comes
our
to us.
CTE programs or anything like that? Is that,
It's that industrial, it's probably the tech center.
What page are you?
I'm not real sure. It's Tooling University, and I looked up Tooling University and it said web-based e-learning training. And I didn't know exactly who was using that, if it was our CTE programs that are using it, or I didn't know if Chris knew what that.
I don't think we have that many. We don't have CTE that would do industrial.
I'm not.
No. That was just, it was just a
But- and it's-
web-based
right.
learning
Yeah,
program.
Yeah.
you see those strange things like
Uh-huh.
we did the last time, and it's for the tech center because we're the fiscal
Okay.
agent.
And then the other thing was it's Certiport, it's Microsoft Specialist Certification Program. I didn't know who that was. Was that for students, teachers,
Todd?
staff,
That is CTE.
CTE?
Yeah, business program.
So
That's the business,
okay.
high school business program.
Okay.
Would be.
That's all. I'm just was asking.
I looked at that, I knew the furniture and said.
Okay, any other questions? on that?
That's it.
Also, the North Pole ice last week.
Yeah, with wire.
Was avoided check.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So
For wire?
Tara at the UTC made a mistake. He did the wrong vendor number when she keyed her check.
I wondered why wire was coming.
It got printed and she contacted accounts payable. They pulled the check, but they forgot to pull the sheet out.
Okay,
That was printed
okay.
and market. Those avoid the check.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. New business. Memorandum of Understanding between Fairmont State College or University, Glenville State University, Pierpont Community and Technical College, West Virginia Wesleyan College, Western Governors University, and Harrison County Schools for placement of student teachers and nurses, and these are continuing.
Contracts for student teachers, yes.
Is it a motion?
Renewals.
Make a motion to renew the memorandum of understanding between the universities that Mr. President mentioned.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those,
Yeah, what is Western Governors University?
I believe they're an online university.
Is that online?
Yeah.
Have we ever dealt with them in the past?
We didn't last year. This is the new memorandum.
Sometimes students will take their classes online, but they live here, and then they need to do a student teaching component. So we have to do an agreement with the college, and then we get a cooperating teacher here that's willing to work with that university or a school, so they can student teach.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just,
there's a lot of online programs anymore, and we're seeing a little bit more of that where they're asking to do student teaching.
Last year we had Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon University, yeah.
all right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Bus driver promissory note. Is there a motion?
Make motion to accept the bus driver promissory note.
Joseph Roberts. Second, okay, there's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. No policy, no old business policy updates, personnel matters. It's before you there.
I make a motion to approve the personnel matters as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Board member comment, Mr. Tucker?
Again, thank you all for being here, and been nice to have time, I guess, then to thank all the folks that were here earlier and had to come out and get tonight or came out tonight. Appreciate that very much. And all that are watching, all the county staff, thank you.
I just like to apologize to Mr. Scott for not receiving or the confusion that happened with the presentation. My apologies. I would say from us and the board, from myself. I think it's a very serious issue and I think it does need addressed. So I hope we can get with that next board meeting and hear from you.
If you all would like to stay over afterwards, I'll gladly talk to you.
Mr. Hoag?
I have no comments.
I'm clear. I'm good.
Neither. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Children of peace, go in peace.
You do have something to say there.